Hello YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Just a quick update on the car. I have it registered, I have it aligned after all the work we did to the rear, and now we're actually able to test whether or not the headers work and whether or not the limited slip differential works and how it affects performance. Now, I have actually been driving the car lately for 3 or 4 days, covering 400 kilometers or so. And I have done a lot of launches. The only place that I could do it legally on an on-ramp for a freeway, that is the 0 to 100 launches. And I thought I'd just walk you through the results of the headers and the limited slip differential in terms of how it actually affects the performance. First, we tried the 18-inch setup, and the best that we could do on a verified run or a valid run using Draghi and an iOS app was 7.06 seconds. Now, after having installed the headers, we're now down to 6.53 seconds, so we cut down by half a second or so. Now, how do we actually know if it's the limited slip differential that is working, doing its magic, or if it's the headers that are actually adding power? Well, if we take a look at the 20 to 100 kilometers per hour, before we installed the headers with the 18-inch setup, we were running at 20 to 100 in 6.09 seconds. And now, after the headers, we are down to 5.78. So that's roughly 0.4 seconds removed from the 20 to 100 after having installed the headers. I did have some issues though with the 18-inch setup. It's not that it doesn't ride well, because those Michelin Pilot Sport 5s are super sticky. An issue though that I did have was that with the limited slip differential and the 18-inch setup, I had a lot of wheel hop, and as you know, wheel hop is super bad for generally all cars, but especially the E46, because the subframe mounts crack a lot on these cars here. That did prompt me, however, to install the 17-inch setup that we're running now, and then I did the same tests again, and the results were quite interesting. Now, I actually installed the 17-inch setup to see if I could get rid of the wheel hop that I would experience with the 18-inch setup. But the 17-inch setup performed flawlessly, more or less. Before the headers, the best we could do on a verified run was 0 to 100 in 6.76 seconds. Quite a bit faster than the 18-inch setup. And after the headers, we were down to 6.32. Just by adding the headers, we dropped a full 0.4 seconds again, just like we did with the 18-inch setup. So I'm pretty sure that the headers and race cats work. Also here, if we take out the limited slip differential from the equation, the 20 to 100 was 5.91 before the headers, and after the headers it was 5.51. So all in all, the headers definitely do work. Would I recommend installing them to someone else? It depends, I guess. If your stock exhaust system is on its way out, the cats are failing, and you'll need to go grab something else anyhow, then sure, consider it. But just know that there's a lot of, at least with these Schmiedman headers and cats, there's a lot of fabrication involved to make it fit. I've heard of others with better results in terms of fitment, but at least for me, I wasn't that lucky. So I had to do quite a lot of fabrication to make it fit, and it still doesn't fit all that well. But it works, and I'm pretty happy about it. The sound is phenomenal as well. It even has some burbling when you let off the gas at lower RPMs at least. Having driven it 400 kilometers with wife and kids on some of them, I do find it to be a bit too noisy sometimes though. So what I think I'm gonna do is, I think I'm going to try and install this stock muffler here and see how that affects the sound. Okay, so how about the differential then? Well, it's kind of hard to feel it working in most conditions. When you really press on in the twisties, it's then it gets kind of obvious, and it has a tendency to kind of claw its way out of a tight corner. You can feel that it's now using both wheels, and with the 17-inch setup here, there's no wheel hub. Other than that, there's really not that much to remind me that it's a limited slip now. The launchers I can launch with higher RPMs and will light up both tires, but eventually I'll be up to speed quicker than I would without the limited slip differential. But another thing is that even though these, it's super windy here, I really hope that the microphone doesn't pick up too much. Anyhow, wheel weight matters a lot, honestly, and even though these tires are pretty shitty, at least up front, and not that good in the back, they're old, they're worn. I must say though, despite all those things to pull it down, it drives a lot better on the 17-inch setup than the 18-inch setup. If you have a choice between 17 and 18, go with the 17s. They just ride so much better. It feels a lot faster, it feels more agile, and it handles superbly. I feel I can push the 18-inch setup a little bit more in the twisties because there's so much grip in the Pilot Sport 5s. But honestly, even with these 17s here, which aren't that great in terms of tires, I could push it far beyond what I'd be comfortable with already. So I'd say if you're going for looks, sure, pick the 18 or even 19 inches. But if you're going for performance, the 17s will do. I'm kind of getting used to this color. I don't know who actually did it and how they did it, but I'm kind of liking it. I'll just show you some pictures in some better lighting and so on. But what I will definitely do is I'll get some other tires, front and rear, and possibly also restore the brakes and so on. All right, that'll be it for this video here about the results from the headers and the limited slip conversion. I hope you can use the info to decide whether or not you'll want headers or limited slip for that instance. And I do have the video showing how to install the exhaust system and what fabrication was involved. And I have a video up on how I actually did the conversion. Spoiler alert, the conversion is actually pretty easy once you have uninstalled the diff. Anyhow, I hope you found the video helpful or interesting, and if you did, please consider liking or subscribing. Have a nice day.